Good evening, everyone, and welcome to week 6 of Britball with Breens. I know we haven't been here 6 weeks, but Steve wants us to call it week 6 because it's the BAFA week 6, so we've changed everything to do. Another week in the books last week, some really good results, some really close results, some blowouts. So we've looked at that. We'll look ahead to this week's fixtures. Do our player of the week. We have some 3 submissions this week. And once again, we have a guest this week. So our guest is a linebacker from the Cats. Now, I've actually messaged the Cats a few times with Instagram to try and get them on. So it's nice to get them on. So without further ado, I'll introduce Johnny to the stream. Good evening, Johnny. How are you?
Chaps, yeah, not doing too badly. Still a bit bruised from last week, but getting there.
Yeah, I'm guessing that the Wembley defense is tough.
Whole of Wembley's tough, and they run hard. They have some big boys, so the whole game is just pain, really.
Yeah, I seen that they had they have a running back that's a bit of a unit, and he can move.
Yeah.
There you go, Luke. Someone's saying, bring out J5, the most handsome man in the world. There you go. You're getting a shout out already, Johnny. We never get any of that.
Thanks, Russ.
I mean, straight away.
This is Russ. You won't stop. This is it.
Evening, Craig.
So we've shown enough of Russ's comments now. We'll just ignore them now. I mean, you have to be a bit of a baller because straight away your name's J5, and that just fits. It just sounds quite tidy when when you put your name up on it like that. Quite like that.
Yeah, I like it. Well, apart from my first season where I wore number 18, but
pretend it didn't happen.
We all have different. I wore 20 when I first started playing, and when I moved team, the guy had it, so I ended up having to wear number 1, and I got so much stick for wearing number 1. But it was a brand new kit and everything. But there's only 2 kinds of players wear number 1, and they're either an arsehole or they're really, really good.
So he was an arsehole.
Unfortunately, I was the first one, so it doesn't really. Your numbers are an important thing to some people. Some people use.
I mean, I get it because 16 will always be my number. But when had to go somewhere else, went down the road to Clyde Valley. I said on one condition, my one condition was I wanted the 16 jersey, and they promised me it. And then when I went down there, they went, "Oh, by the way, we don't have a 16." So they hoodwinked me in that way. So I ended up in number 9 for a year. It just didn't feel right. I'm 16. That's my number. It's just who I am.
Well, I've always been Johnny 5 ever since, Short Circuit in the 1988 movie.
Too young.
Then when Saxons folded in 2016, a load of us moved across to the Cats, and there was already a chap with number 5. So
right.
I took the number 1 jersey, sold number 1 and a pint. Well, swapped number 1 and a pint for number 5.
That's all right. Seeing some of the deals that go down in the NFL for shirts, it's like 500k. You're like, whoa, hold on.
Yeah.
So a pint's all right. Wacko's saying 9 is great. Yeah, central forward. I don't like that one.
Single digits forever.
I mean, it's Shearer's number, but
yeah,
whatever.
See, the lineman also talking in here. Look, 77 is the best. To be fair, no matter how what number you get or anything, folk have their number like really. Oh my goodness sake! I'm just seeing it funny. you've just closed it down on me, like, oh god, I didn't realize I clicked. You're getting a lot of love here, Johnny.
You give the people what they want. Viewership through the roof.
I don't want time to be alive. It is. You're right. Like honestly, I quite like single digits, but obviously the bigger guys don't get a choice. They'll be looking after some of the. You're getting. Honestly, there is a. But obviously the big man, they like their numbers. Obviously, 77 is a decent number. I quite like the double digits as well. 22, it's quite good. So yeah, it's one of these things. But for using your season, right? Your season started off a bit weird because we thought that we had you really highly ranked our power rankings, and we thought, right, these guys are probably going to make a run straight this division will be fine. Then obviously week 1 at home, lost to the Hornets. Now, I know that a lot of people had said the Hornets were a better outfit this year than they had been previously, but was it just you just needed time to click? Was it you just had a few players missing, or were the Hornets actually, have they just stepped up that much?
I mean, we seem to play the Hornets every single year. They're a tough team. They're physical, they're strong, they're fast. But we know that we can beat them. But we have to put things together on the field, and things didn't really click. That first half we were giving up lousy field position, and I mean we still conceded 15 points.
Yeah.
And things started to click a bit better in the second half. We came back, obviously still a tough game the whole way, but we had a chance to kick for it for the win. Missed, take the loss. So it could have easily gone the other way, even with a really difficult first half. But sometimes the way in football, it's just things don't click.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it takes a bit of going. We've said in the past in our show that the Cats have very much been a really strong defense, but they've never really been like a statistic huge in the statistics when it comes to offense. So what's happened the last couple of weeks that is it just the fact you've started to click together that you're starting to put up points on most of these teams?
Well, it probably goes back a bit sort of further than that. If you go back to just before COVID hit, we got a new offensive coordinator. We got a whole new system, a sort of pass first, quick tempo offense. When it worked, it's beautiful. You can end up playing on defense, going back on the field a minute after getting an interception or something. But this is going to be our first season of that competitively. So, we had our COVID season, which for us was, we went 8-0. We weren't challenged that much. So the offense probably played within themselves. Then coming out into the first game, competitive season, better competition, it took some time for that to start clicking. And if it takes a half of the first game, fine. Because ever since then, it seemed to be rolling.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching the second game. I was watching the scores coming in. I'm thinking, oh my God, what has happened to the Cats? And then boom, 40 points. And I was like, where the hell did that come from?
Yeah.
It seemed like absolute mental. And then obviously last week you scored 18 points, but you were up against a defense that hadn't conceded a single point. So 18 points isn't that bad against a defense that's obviously decent. Well, but that's really good. It's good to see they're progressing. If it continues until the last game of the season, you're still progressing, then you'll go into the playoffs on a high, shall we say? We'll not hoodoo you to say playoffs. We're bad for that, so we'll not hoodoo you to say playoffs. But obviously the Cats will be aiming for playoffs after where they got in 2019. So no, that's great. If any other news out of the Cats before I move on to some of our other stuff this week?
No, don't mind the voodoo at all. I mean, we'll go playoffs, we'll roll. You've got to be confident, haven't you? So, no, just we've got some really, really good players this year. So, nothing new. It's just going to be rolling, keep improving, keep going until we get towards the end.
Yeah, I think when we're speaking before we came on, we were highlighting number 4, your wide receiver. I watched the highlights versus the Thunder, and my God, that guy's an athlete.
Michael Johnson, yeah,
what a name that is. The fastest guy on earth, Michael Johnson.
He scored 2 touchdowns before I saw the field against Sussex. It's he's a really good fan.
Definitely.
We've seen was that the highlights from Sussex were good. Like some of the players are brilliant, and we've said before, Sussex, although they're having a hard season, kudos to them to getting their highlights out because they put them out every week in their class.
Oh yeah, yeah, really good to see those highlights. Really like them. Sussex, it's a difficult one because it's a long old trip in their division up to Cambridge. They're used to probably playing a lot of the South Coast teams, but going across the M25, coming all the way up, it's a long way. So if you can get a team that far, it's difficult once you get here. But I think they'll bounce back. But It's difficult.
we'll see. Ian Ellis is last season, so it'd be interesting to see if they can bounce a little bit and see what comes of it, and then maybe then they'll replace their coaches at the end of the season and see what happens next year. But yeah, it's once you go on away, if you're going on away against a tough team, how much of that mindset kicks in and all this kind of stuff, it's a huge part of the game that folk don't realize. So be interesting to see how they do in the future. Just before I move on here, so yeah, you're right. Our dad played center. He played 50. He played number 53, so he'll agree with you. £8 judge. I'm not sure what that's about. Did you play for Steelan? Did you, Johnny?
I did. Yeah.
I actually have no idea what that's about. Like, I've never had the chance to actually look into it and see what it's about.
I'm not gonna lie, the first time I heard about it, I genuinely thought it was one of these, like, what's his name's London Jaguar setups. And I was like, oh no, not another one. But then I seen, obviously, it was a legit team and stuff like that. So it was really quite good to see. But yes, certainly when I first seen it, I was like, oh no, not another one.
Yeah, Sealand's been a bit of an experience. It's really great, really having that many good players willing to sign up, wanting to travel, playing abroad. That team is scary if that came across any sort of regular BAFA team. Walk anyone really. There's some really good players in that team.
Yeah, I've never actually even looked into it. I should probably pay more attention to it because I think they do a fair bit of stuff on here on Sport Tanks. So
I did want to say, I know there was a comment responded to it, but I did kind of want to address it. Unfortunately, no, we don't. We quite frankly don't have enough knowledge on it to try and make any sort of educated guess whatsoever, and we would hate to just sit here and just make it up as we go along. But there is a show; they're starting to do a lot more shows for the NFL as well. So just keep an eye out for those. And obviously, apologies, we're not covering it.
Yeah, I'm guessing, Johnny. I think I seen something about this player on your team's page. So I think he's lost one of your team members a couple of years ago. Did you?
Yeah, it's 4 years ago. Charles Mack collapsed at training, and unfortunately.
Oh shit! Yeah, I remember that. I remember that being in the.
Yeah, that really did rock the club a lot. So yeah, anniversary of that today. So.
Yeah, well, I hope everything's fine for that at the weekend, and he's going to win one for him. I don't know why Sealand can't play in the UK. I'm guessing it's because you're all registered to BAFA teams, but I couldn't tell you for sure.
Yeah, falls outside of BAFA, so it's more fun to play abroad, so we do.
Fair. Right, so what we'll do is we'll move on to our normal. Now, I am happy to say that once I share my screen here, I'm happy to say that my board is still empty, which is absolutely class because I hate having people in these ones here. So we don't have to discuss it. It is empty, and let's hope it remains that way the rest of the season. So we'll go straight onto our play of the week. Now, I say, Johnny, I don't know how much you've watched this, but for everybody else out there, like and share this because it gets people a bit of notice. We've had some players thank us in that and post stuff to us to put up. But this is our play of the week. So we have 3 clips that we've selected. Some of them have been sent in. Some of them we've looked up ourselves. And basically we play the 3 clips. One of us, we all get a vote each, and whoever gets the most votes wins. Easy, straightforward. If any of them are a little bit wonky and go a bit slow, I'm sorry. It's because my internet's crap. But I'll put the first one up here, and we'll go through these. So the first one is from the Nottingham Caesars. All right, so I'll just let the clip play, and then we'll discuss it as we go through. So this is the first one.
So this is the quarterback from the Caesars, isn't it?
Well, I wasn't going to tell anyone, but yeah.
All right, I just wanted to make sure.
No, it is. So quarterback takes his hand off. Oh, keeps it himself. Guy falls over, breaks the tackle, and he's gone. So, great play. Now, there's a few things in this, right? First of all, left guard, you lucky devil, because you do nothing here, right? So, left guard here almost allows this play to be busted. And the only reason that this works is because the sell is so good. So we'll see here, left guard beat immediately. And this guy here is through on this play, but he picks the wrong guy. So the sell is obviously good enough that he picks the wrong guy, and that gives enough space for the QB to sneak out. Now, after this, it's all QB. So QB sneaks out. There's a good way block here, but this guy still has a shot at him. Well, you think he does. But he comes over, pursues too wide. This guy's going to make
bad pursuit angles.
Yeah, this guy over pursues too wide. This guy's going to make a bit of a chip block. And this guy, you think, oh, he's got a chance. So he's the guy that actually, he over pursues a little bit. He comes back to try and make the tackle. And the guy breaks the tackle and he's loose. So again, the first thing there is the handoff is obviously, the sell for the handoff is obviously really good. Because the big D line might get Sue's fooled. After that, the QB read all the way through, the little chip block twice actually by the up back, and then the break a tackle and off makes that one a really solid play. So that's number one. The only thing I will say about this one, and I actually messaged Grant about it, is QB needs to stop staring down where he's going. He's looking here, he's looking here, he's looking here, and then he actually looks back to the middle, and then he looks back up there again before he actually goes. I'd be shouting left, left, left if I was on the defense, but that's just me. The second one comes from an ex-teammate of ours. So this is Rob Hayes from East Kilbride Pirates. He's here. You'd have probably seen this one kicking about online because it was sent around. So we'll watch it through.
It's choppy.
So there's a great example of one-handed catch. Now Rob's a big dude, I can tell you that for sure. He's come out here. I don't know whether he's supposed to block this guy or this guy's supposed to block him, but he sheds this block really nicely. Then he's got this guy on his heels. Nice cut. QB finds him, one-handed grab, and to be fair, no matter which way you do it, that's a really, really hard play to get right. So he's done numerous different things here that are great. QB gets some time, gets flushed out the pocket, gets some time out there. Great throw where only Rob can get it, but he's really got to go up there and get it with one hand. The third one, I'm hoping you can see this. Comes from the Oxford Saints. So the Oxford Saints versus Portsmouth actually had like 3 plays within our top like 7 or 8 plays that we could have had, but this is a kickoff return. So lets it bounce, grabs it, start step, cut, guy on the floor. Oh, he's to the edge. Oh, this guy in yellow is fast. He's gonna. No, he's not gone. So I've watched 23, and 23 is an absolute baller for Oxford, by the way. I'm clicking on the wrong bit here. 323, I think it is. He scored more than once in this game, and the wee touchdowns either, but it's been so it's a big kick return from Oxford, and really the point of this one here is the cut. So he's coming up here, and the ball goes over, bounces, casually picks it up, reads the kick coverage team here. Now this one here, now he's got a cut here. This guy's on the floor. He's already been blocked into next week. This guy's got a shot. Doesn't close the gap quick enough. Gets to the edge. Another good block here. But this guy in the yellow hat, I'm sure he scored. Yellow hat, yellow helmet. I'm sure he scored in this game as well, and he's absolutely rapid. So I thought this guy was going to catch him. You can see him coming, but just not enough. I think his own player maybe stops his pursuit, and Tommy Wilson's in for the touchdown. So that's our 3 plays. Now, as a guest, Johnny, you can go first this week. Which one do you think is the best there?
No, I'm giving it to Oxford. Special teams touchdowns. I think you've got a situation where you're not just celebrating that one player, you're celebrating that whole team for it all coming together in those sort of 5-6 seconds. Letting the ball bounce, I'm not so sure, but recovers, gets the edge. That big block. I saw the guy on the floor. It's hard to get a good view with it being a little bit choppy, but yeah, that's a good touchdown. I'm a fan of a kick return touchdown.
It's also his rookie year, which is mental. Like I'd say, I've watched the highlights and he is very good, very good player. Chris, what's your vote?
Yeah, I mean, just quickly running through them, I like the sort of the read pool. Obviously, the fake handoff or the read on the handoff was pretty good. But I don't know. I felt like there was a bit of sloppy defense involved in it more than anything as well. I mean, contrary to popular belief, I absolutely love the Oxford Saints. I know we get a bit of stick from Chris saying that we always give them abuse, but I'm an Oxford fan, mate. I love the Saints. I think a factor in this one as well is the score, because when this is obviously a kick return following Portsmouth scoring and bringing the score back to 25-12, which isn't bringing it down to a one-score game, but you're starting to make the game interesting again, and this touchdown kills it stone dead, and it's a great return. As for Rob's one-handed catch against EKP, I mean, we know he's capable. I've played with him for several years as well, but no, it's the fact that he engages the guy, sells that he's blocking, then breaks free, then rolls out, and then breaks on his route. And I feel like he could have got the ball to him a lot earlier. I think the quarterback really sold him quite short, and he still went up and made an unbelievable one-handed grab. So it's Rob Hayes for me.
Yeah, and to be fair, knowing how Rob breaks tackles, if that ball is earlier, he probably turns up the field and runs over one or two people.
He's done it before.
Yeah, he's done it plenty times before. And yeah, I'm thinking along the same line. Like I think the Caesars plays really good. The QB reading that and then running through a tackle, it is really solid. That's a great play. I do think Rob's is really good. The release off the line is great. He comes up, does a great route, and he gets space to get a single hand catch. But I do think the kick return's the best here. If he fields this clean here, and just takes it to the house straight up the sideline, I'm like, ugh, it's great, but it's a kick return, but it's nice and easy when he has a free run. But the fact that he's running towards his own end zone, it bounces, he picks it up, he turns around, he then has like the composure to read the field. As a rookie, we now know composure to read the field, read a block, get the sideline and and all the way for a touchdown. I'm going to give it to him. So this week's play of the week will be this one here, number 23, Tommy Wilson from Oxford Saints. So nice one, Tommy. Okay, your other touchdown was class as well. So brilliant for a rookie player. Right, game of the week. Okay, it's a big one. So this normally would be a tough call. They'll tell you that going up to Edinburgh is nasty, and it's unlikely to change. So this one has a bit more in it this year, though. The Wolves are undefeated. Tamworth haven't looked quite their best yet, although the second half last week they absolutely annihilated Sheffield Giants. But again, it is in Edinburgh. So what's interesting for me, the Wolves haven't conceded a single point. So their defense is always tough. So is it even better than normal? If that's the case, can Tamworth's offense score on them? Like, in all seriousness, they struggled to score against Manchester, and Manchester at the moment we know are a very, very good team. But even they'll tell you that going up and trying to score on the Wolves is tough. So I don't know if Tamworth can come out and score, then I think they're going to win this game. But if they really struggle, I think the Wolves are more likely to nick a score than Tamworth are. So I've picked the Wolves this week. I don't think it'll be by much. We've picked this as game of the week because our game of the week is normally what we think will be the closest fixture. And I think this will be potentially 3 to 7 points difference. But I'm going to pick the Wolves in this one. Johnny, would you like to go next?
Sure. I have to go the opposite way. I'm going Tamworth. The Wolves, haven't conceded a point. They've put up, 150? But against Samwell.
There was Merseyside in there as well, though, to be fair.
And Merseyside. Okay, I know Merseyside have lost a couple of points, but you're playing the two teams that are at the bottom of the table. He's playing the two teams that are at the bottom of the table. Tamworth's going to be the first sort of legit team that they come up against. And I don't think you're scoring many points on that Tamworth defence. So while, Edinburgh could nick it if Tamworth's offence does struggle, Tamworth probably only need to get a couple of scores. And then they'll be walking away with the game. So I'm going to put that, win to Tamworth by, a couple of points, but close one, but eventually Tamworth.
Yeah, Chris?
2 seconds. You've done me there. It would, Craig, but haven't the Merseyside Nighthawks scored 2 points against the Tamworth Phoenix?
Yeah, and Tamworth only put up 22, whereas the Wolves put up 44.
Just throwing that one out there. It's the Merseyside have actually technically scored points. This is one of those ones. I mean, normally every week. Sorry if you can hear my dog pecking away. He's literally just decided to sit right next to me. Normally every day of the week you pick this as Tamworth, right? I mean, they've been the team at the top of the North for a long time now. You can't change the narrative now, Craig. It's points. Points is points. All right. But yeah, the Edinburgh Wolves, yes, they've played Sandwell twice. And that much I understand. They beat the Nighthawks by a far greater margin than Tamworth did. Now, Tamworth on paper should still be the favourites in this game. That Edinburgh Wolves defence is a different animal to the Wolves defence we've seen in past years. And yeah, I'm kind of with you. This is not going to be a high scoring game. I really can't see there being that many points, especially given that, it looked like the Tamworth offense finally got going in the second half against Sheffield. But will they kind of get that? Will they get that going against a Wolves defense that's been really aggressive? I don't know, but it's going to be a tight game. But I've backed the Wolves.
Yeah, I think what's interesting here is Tamworth were 7-7 against the Giants at halftime last week. And I've been told that a lot of the Tamworth touchdowns were like trick plays and kickoff returns, stuff like this. So I don't know how much of it was like their general offense. And I say I don't know. I've only what I've been told. So that stuff, the Wolves will now have a chance to look at that stuff and that kind of things. I'm not putting that comment up, Ian. Yeah, so I don't know. I do think this is going to be very close, but it is definitely worthy of game of the week, and that's for sure. I'll be interested to see what the scoreline is. Chris, you're serious? You miss it the week your player wins.
See, Chris, this is why we give you a hard time. This is why we give you a hard time, Chris, because you can't even show up on time for your player of the week being the winner. You know what I mean? What more do you want us to say?
Can I change my vote?
Going to take next this time to get the right offense right. Yeah, exactly. New OC, new KB. It takes time. You're right. It is. The defense is still one of the best. They were really good against Manchester for the first half. But yeah, I do think it's going to be an interesting one. I'll tell you one thing, right? After the Rams last week, the Rams versus the East Kilbride predictions last week were ridiculous, quite frankly, folks.
In fairness, I feel like a lot of Manchester and Edinburgh players were certainly getting involved in some sort of pylon on not liking the Pirates. I think that became very clear.
Yeah.
during some of the score predictions.
If you look at the score predictions this week, they're much more conservative, let's say. They're very conservative. Most folk think it's going to be a very close game. So we'll see how that one pans out. Right. I will stop sharing the screen and we'll move on to our normal fixtures. What's this say? Didn't this used to start at 7? Last year on a Saturday it started at 7, but I've had to change days, so it's why it starts early on a Friday. So first things first, Chris is going to laugh at me. So I've started this because I got Poppelhoff this week. Now normally, like I'm pretty good at fact checking. Normally I look at stuff I'm doing. I don't normally just off the top of my head, but this week I didn't have access to some of the stuff I normally have access to, and I said that East Kilbride hadn't lost by more than 21 points in like 5 years, which is a load of crap. It's actually more like 3. But the problem is I thought they were relegated, and I thought they got relegated in 2017 and they played 2018, which is not the case. They got relegated in 2018. So they actually conceded 21 points in every game in 2018. So I look like a proper tube. But Poppelhoff pointed out, so we've now got a section called "You've been Poppelhoffed." I'm sure he'll pop in at some. I didn't mean that. I'm sure he'll pop in at some point here, because he normally comes up with some cracking facts. But it's just to give a shout out to him. Thanks for calling out my shite, because I don't like speaking rubbish that often. Right, first game, and Chris is going to hate it because it's them. So
it's the EP Sports non-refereed game of the week.
Yes, let's just say there's a bit of hoo-ha around this. EP Sports contacted you, did they, Chris?
Yeah, so EP Sports contacted us because this is our game against the Highland Stags. They contacted us on the Monday to say that they wanted to make this their game of the week and ask us for some players to watch. So yeah, we're a little bit excited. We it's a good opportunity for us. And then then we got contacted on Wednesday to get told that we weren't getting refs. So the EP Sports game of the week has no officials, which is high quality shithousery of every order. Yeah, so yeah, it is what it is. You know, we're self-refereeing. We did discuss try to postpone. Yeah, unfortunately my head ref is here with me, or our head ref rather.
We had to register today. I had to register today to be able to ref on Sunday. Yeah. Ridiculous.
Well, we discussed obviously postponing and try to look for another day with officials, which if you read the latest from Sportank is going to become even more challenging. But yeah, you know, it is what it is. We're the Highland Stags couldn't get a refund on their bus, so he's trying to sway the official. I've had enough. But yeah, so we're going to self-ref it, which is deeply disappointing for both teams. And I know a lot of teams have had to do it already, which is so disappointing. But you know, we're just going to try get on with it. You know, both teams have had a meeting to try and come to some sort of understanding to get this done as smoothly as possible. But outside of that, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, the Highland Stags won the division in 2021 with the season that was put on, and you know, they look like a really good outfit. They put me in hospital and ruptured my ACL, so there's that too.
Oh, you savage! The ground ruptured your ACL.
You know, so we know how tough it's going to be, and I'm looking forward to the game. I really am. So it should be a good game from both sides.
Yeah, you're getting more shout outs. Most handsome guest of the year. Sam Bloomfield will be raging.
He's not going to watch. He's not going to watch us again now. He's going to be bitter.
No. He's not on tonight, so he's thankfully he won't get to see. Yeah, I'll fill you in a bit here, Johnny, just in case you don't know anything about these teams. The Roughnecks won Division 2 in 2018. They got promoted into Division 1, played 2019, finished mid-table. Then 2020 came, COVID. Then they didn't take part in 2021 because their numbers. and chose to step down into Division 2. Since then, Chris has become the head coach, so that's why he's not wanting to talk about it. And he didn't want anyone to pick them, but we all picked him, except for me. So basically, that's what's happened to the Roughnecks. Meanwhile, the Stags have been an associate team for ages. They've always had like a decent squad. We played them pre-season in 2018, and they probably gave us a closer game than most teams did. Then last year, they finally got their shot. They went on, they won the division. Tough run game, really solid offensive line, decent QB, reads the game well, some fast guys at wide receiver. So this is like rightfully so. This is an important game for not just these two teams, but for the Division 2, because one of these teams is going to be in the playoffs, maybe two. So is it not two now? They've changed it, have they?
It's definitely
It's
confirmed.
I forgot
so
about
it's
that
just the
change.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
So
nothing was ever confirmed though, so
Yeah.
we sought clarification because apparently we have to do all the work. We're told that that was confirmed, so only one team from each conference is going to the playoffs in Division 2.
Yeah, so it's even more important. It's to set the tone. There are obviously two games, but it's to set the tone. Personally, I haven't really seen much of either team this year, but just purely because I know the Roughnecks are kind of in rebuild, and they have won all their games so far. I think the Stags in the first game will have the upper hand. I think the physicality of their line, it will give the Roughnecks problems. I think the Roughnecks will score. So I think it's going to be a really close game, but I'm going to stick with Highland Stags because that's what I've called them thing. And everybody in Aberdeen's going to hate me, and I'm reffing tomorrow, so please don't hurt me. But reffing on Sunday, but I'm going to stick with Highland here. So Johnny, who do you think?
Yeah. Can you even pick if you're meant to be reffing?
I don't care.
You just do it anyway. No, so I'll be honest. My only experience of playing up in Scotland is one destruction of West Coast Trojans in the playoffs in 2016.
I know that. I remember that. We got knocked out by Manchester that year.
Yeah, then we went to Manchester and won, and then went to the final and lost. But
Sheffield. Was it Sheffield that you played in the final?
No, that was the year before. It was Samwell.
Was it?
Yeah. But just looking at your common opponents, you've got Stags went to Dumfries 33-12 win, and then Aberdeen 18-6 at home. So I'm going Stags as well.
Yeah, I'd say it should be a good game. I said I was hoping to be sitting in the pub at the field watching it, but I'm obviously not going to be, so I'll just have to deal with that. That's my captain, Callum O'Connor. I'm guessing he's with the Cats.
Yeah, Teddy Bear.
Great. How's that different to any other game?
Yeah. Guys, you mentioned the Rushmore game yet? No, we've not got there. We'll get there. What was the Trojan score? I can't remember. Gary. I'd have to look it up. Our next game is really interesting as well, and was a shout for game of the week. But personally, not sure. I think it's going to be as close as we think. Chris, do you want to go first on this one?
Yeah, I mean, looking at the results, we looked at 2021. We've seen the Blitz close game with the Warriors, and I think we all kind of hoped among hope that the Blitz were back to being contenders. And then they lost to Solent, and no disrespect to Solent, but obviously that was on the back of them losing significantly, like everyone else does, to the London Warriors. So yeah, it was now a case of, well, is there a new team in town? Is there a new second place team in this division? And the Aztecs played a lot closer to the Warriors than anyone else has so far. I still think this is going to be a close game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any sense of the word. However, I think the Aztecs win this. I would back them, 100%.
Johnny?
Yeah, I'm going Aztecs too, but I don't think that's down to any sort of loss from the Blitz or a worry that they're not going to be able to come back. I think that's all down to Aztecs just being a really smart, well organised outfit, putting up 43 points on Solent. is crazy, really. But you've got UWE bringing in some talent now to that area of the country. Really well-run club with 2 teams within it. Aztecs, I think, are going to really keep pushing, and they'll probably start pushing some London teams soon.
Yeah, I mean, they ran the London Warriors close. Well, the closest they've been running in a while. And yeah, they've got the Pride set up there. They have UWE there, and yeah, you're right. They have 2 teams that I think both teams could make the playoffs this year. The Apache look really good. We'll speak about them later. But yeah, I think Bristol, if there's a chance that for the first time in a while a team's going to knock off the Blitz. Solent already did it this season. I think the Bristol Aztecs are bound to do it. That Solent apparently were up 14-0 last week, and then in the second half, Bristol just overpowered them, I believe. So it'll certainly probably be a tough encounter. The Blitz will not want to lose this, but I'm going to choose Bristol for this one as well.
Well, I mean, realistically, if the Blitz loses, their season's done, right? I mean,
yeah,
that means they'll have 3 losses. No, they'll have 3 losses on the season already.
When's the last time you've seen that?
I mean, you would have to argue that that'll definitely then increase to 4.
Yeah.
So even if Bristol just beat everybody else outside of the Warriors and then lose the reverse fixture to the Blitz, they'll still be the second place team. Yeah. So yeah, I genuinely believe if the Blitz lose this game, their season's over already.
Yeah, not a good sign. Probably, but maybe a good sign for some of the other teams in London, knowing the way that this Britball works. Next game, Chester versus Leicester again. Now, a few weeks ago, Leicester Falcons went 14-0 down to the Romans. I was like, oh, there we go. And then Leicester come back and almost put 50 points on them. Yeah, I know, the comments. And the Romans are at home this time, so I don't think it will be. I don't think Leicester will put up almost 50 points this time. However, I don't think Leicester will be taking it as lightly as they maybe did last time either. I think they'll be coming out. They'll know what to expect this time. And the Romans still did put 34 points or something up on them. I can't remember the exact score, but they still managed to put up a fair bit of points. Leicester need to come out focused into this game if they want to make sure that for no slip-ups. They are still currently our number 1 ranked team in Division 1. So I think they're going to keep it there. Johnny?
Yeah, I mean, Leicester are doing really, really well, aren't they? But it all seems to be built on offense. So obviously they're really dynamic. They're scoring a lot of points. They're having a lot of fun. But if you can get a couple of stops from the Romans, then you've probably got a closer game. If you can try and hold their offense and keep them. I don't know, man. I don't know why I'm so sexy. I just am. I was born this way. It happened.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think if the Romans can keep the scoring down from Leicester, then they have every chance because they have a potent offense. So you going Leicester or are you going Chester?
I think I'm still going to go Leicester just. But I think it will be a pretty close game.
Yeah. Chris?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is like Chester rushed out to a 14-0 lead against Leicester last time out. And at that point, I think I was sitting at home going, ooh, this could be one of those. And then the Leicester Falcons absolutely roared back into it, smashed up 49 unanswered points. And then it looks like they kind of started to rotate out and the Romans got back into the game-ish near the end. I still think Leicester are stronger. The Romans are going to put up points. I mean, they just are. But I think the Falcons just have too much.
Yeah. Just before we move on here, yeah, you're right, David. It is good for the sport.
I agree and I don't disagree. And I don't agree, in some ways, because it is good for the sport. It's nice to see someone other than just the Blitz and Warriors every single year. I don't necessarily agree it makes the Premier South that much more competitive because it's still the London Warriors, everyone else. Even though Bristol played them a bit closer, it was still a comfortable win in the end for the Warriors. So it maybe makes the other 4 teams, or what is it, five teams, the other 5 teams more competitive, but overall, not really.
Yeah, he's right here. This could be a shootout. It was a shootout last time, so it wouldn't surprise me if this one was a shootout. That's why it's not game of the week this time, because we picked it last time and it was bloody scores left, right, and centre. Next one, down the south. Is it southwest? These two are southwest.
Southwest, yeah.
Yeah. So Cornwall Monarchs versus Bristol Apache. Chris, you can go first for this one.
Yeah, the Apache. I mean, there's not too much to say. I mean, they look really strong. We didn't move them up in the power rankings after their win last week because 77 points is impressive, but it was against Torbay, and to be quite frank, most people are putting 50 plus, so we're not too worried. But yeah, I mean, the Apache are the top team in this division, and the best game they're probably going to get all year prior to the playoffs is from the Wyverns. So yeah, Apache will win this quite comfortably.
Do you think that's going to be an issue for them in the playoffs?
Possibly.
The fact that they haven't played, they might not play. Like Somerset will argue with us because I think Somerset are getting better every year, but I don't know if they have like a competition level in their division that they're going to see in the playoffs.
I mean, it might be the case. It might be an example where that lack of competition kind of comes back to bite them. But I mean, it does kind of depend. It might not. It might just mean that they've managed to kind of get all the kinks worked out in the offense or whatever. So by the time a more physical or stronger team comes along, they're already firing on all cylinders. Similarly, as you say, it might be a case of, once they start getting smashed in the mouth, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face, sort of thing. It might be like that, but yeah, I mean, I'd be deeply surprised if the Apache, didn't end up winning this division at the end of the year.
Yeah, no, they'll win their division, but one thing I'm going to find interesting is how they do when it gets to playoff time. But they're obviously going to be well coached. They're part of the Bristol setup. They're going to have good players. So maybe they just are that good. It'd just be interesting to see because I don't think they're going to get much of a challenge in this division. So Cornwall aren't going to beat them this weekend, even though it's away from home. So I'm going to pick the Apache as well. Johnny?
Yeah, going with the Apache by quite a lot. I'm hearing that Cornwall have a new wide receiver, DV, running back, but it's not going to be enough. Apache just look really, really strong, but I don't buy so much, or I don't read so much into there being problems in the playoffs when you get like that, because if you can come through your division firing all cylinders, full of confidence, not taking many hits, not all your players are fit, you've managed to run all your plays with success, I think you actually run into the playoffs a bit stronger. And if you've got a defense that's not conceding any points, they'll continue doing what they're doing.
Yeah, still tough. Is this the guy you're talking about by any chance?
Yeah.
I think I've heard his name before.
That looks like somebody in an Essex Spartans.
It is. It is. And I actually need to speak to this guy because I got a message from the Essex Spartans saying you had a video for Play of the Week, but I never got it. So I couldn't see your.
I've seen it. I've seen it.
Every time I see a comment or something come up from guys that seem to know players from everywhere else, all I can think of is just everyone knows everyone around here.
Yeah,
first thing comes in.
No, Steve Cox, I've seen that touchdown. He just single receiver, opposite trips, just beats his guy deep and just runs it back 70 yards. Great touchdown.
Nice. Well, I say, guys, if you're sending in videos, please send them to our Twitter, like private message or Instagram, because it's the best way we can get it. Next one, Essex Spartans versus Wembley Stallions. Now, I'll let you go first, Johnny, because you played the Wembley Stallions last week.
Okay, yeah. So these two teams both, after what I said about Steve, but these two teams are both really hard running, tough, sort of strong running back led teams. So you're probably going to see a quick game. Wembley should come out on top. I think they're just a bit more physical. Their runs are a bit sort of the running backs are harder to bring down than Essex. But you'll probably have a really sort of physical, tough game that'll be sort of interesting to watch between the inside the tackles. But unless you do get Steve Koch released on the outside, Wembley will probably win.
Chris, you're so immature.
No,
I
I'm
know
laughing.
I could see him laughing there, Johnny. I was thinking, for goodness sake. Yeah, I think it's interesting here is that obviously Essex gave you guys a run for your money in the first half, and then you managed to score plenty points, and then you had a closer game with Wembley. So this should set up as a decent game. Being at Essex, I think, gives them a little bit more, a little bit more to go from. But I think Wembley will take this one. I think maybe by 1 or 2 scores, Wembley will win this one. Chris?
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Looking at it, Wembley hadn't conceded a point before they played the Cats, and we know how strong the Cats are. So I'm not, and it was still a really tight game, right? It was 4 point difference. Essex have already given a really strong account of themselves this year, and it's been really good to see. I think this will be tight because, but I just think that power on the Wembley side is going to be too much. I can't see it being a huge scoreline, but I think, as you say, I think Wembley will just slightly overpower, at least certainly into the second half.
Yeah, three shouts for Wembley there. So this one is Halton Spartans versus Nottingham Caesars. Another interesting one here because Halton obviously beat Shropshire. Then was it Shropshire played Nottingham last week?
Yeah.
Yes. So what was this fight? What was the final score?
It was quite a big margin of victory for the
Yeah.
Caesars because you messaged me saying you couldn't understand how the Caesars were losing to Shropshire, and then when I went on it, it was like 40 points to 0, and I was like, well, clearly something got mixed up there because it wasn't close.
The scores didn't seem to have updated because I was like, what is going on here? And then obviously it was just, it obviously just hadn't refreshed. So if that's the case, the Caesars put up a fair bit of points on Shropshire, and Shropshire struggle against the Spartans, but only just. Then you've got to hand the advantage to Nottingham. Big squad, as seen from the Player of the Week there in some of their highlights. Decent offensive line. Some talented players on that team, so I'm going to take Nottingham in this one. Chris?
Yeah, I mean, I think internally I'm rooting for Halton for pretty much in every single one of their games this year. You know what I mean? Like, they made the decision to stay in Division 1 after having to pull out of the 2021 season. They're forever in your good books because after you taken stick from Shropshire, Halton then beat them week 1. But yeah, I mean, I think Nottingham overall are just too powerful for Halton this week, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Johnny?
Yeah, I'm going Caesars as well. I remember seeing something over the summer when Caesars announced all of their signings or whatever that clubs like to do, and just seeing lots of really big dudes. So looking at that video as well, I think it just puts them in good stead, having sort of really strong lines. I don't see Halton managing to bounce back from just getting blown out by Chester before. So I'm going for Caesars by quite a few.
Yeah. When you say about big guys, somebody mentioned in the Player of the Week mentioned the clothesline. I don't know if you've seen that, but I mean, it was clearly bad. It was very, very bad, but it was spectacular.
Was it on the Player of the Week?
No, this was it was from a prior game. I believe I flash. It was a flagrant personal foul, and there was an ejection as a result. But I think it was, I don't know who they were. I can't remember who they were playing, but somebody cut across, and the guy from Nottingham just clotheslined him.
Yeah.
It was a little bit savage.
If you've seen the video we put up on our Instagram page of our special teams king doing the kick return, have a look at that and have a look at this attempted slide tackle. That's even better. Next game here is Humber Warhawks versus Doncaster Mustangs. Chris, I'll let you go first on this one.
Yeah, I mean, I have to double check. Let me double check who I actually picked for this one. I think I know. Yeah. We heard about how the Yorkshire Rams got Doncaster's quarterback. And have these teams played this season? Sorry, my brain's not
No.
working just now. No. Um, it was. I believe it was quite close last year when they played each other.
I think they shared it last year.
Probably. Honestly, my brain has just stopped working just now. I'm afraid. But Humber made a lot of progress in 2021. Doncaster looked like they bounced back, but obviously losing your quarterback is big. So I think the home team just squeaks this one, but I think it'll be tight.
Yeah, Johnny.
So it's always a difficult one where you haven't got many sort of common opponents or any sort of data to really go on, especially worst with season that really wasn't last year. It's good to see Humber sort of improve slowly. You've had them sort of around for quite a long time. I remember 2016, they got a bit of a hiding from my Saxons team then. You've been pop up. You don't have to deal with this every week on the sideline.
It's a new thing.
Yeah, they've lost a QB as well. Stallions, Mustangs will struggle. So I'm going Warhawks as well, despite the worst kit in Britball.
Oh yeah, it's. I think it's got better than it has.
I'd like to object to that. It used to be the red jersey with the plain green pants, and that was absolutely horrendous.
Right.
So what they have now is actually better than what they used to have because it's kind of that grey and red combo. But yeah, the original one was absolutely shocking.
The world's sexiest man apparently has said that it's shit. So I'm assuming that he's pretty good with fashion as well.
Listen, so... I am the Britball uniform expert here. Okay.
Okay, if they've improved, we'll allow it. Okay.
Yeah. I think right. I think if Humber won both games last year and Doncaster lost their QB, I had Doncaster rated high this year, but we weren't quite sure what to expect. I think it's going to be a Humber Warhawks win here. Next one should be an easy win. I think we can do this one really quickly. Sussex, thanks for your highlights, but London Hornets. Chris?
Yeah, I mean, it's a sad season for Sussex. So that was hard to say. But no, London Hornets.
Yeah, Johnny. Hornets win. Sussex, I know that they're struggling with numbers. I know they've got a lot of rookies on the field. So, they might improve as the season goes on, but Hornets too strong.
Yeah. This next one's interesting. Do you expect a close game here, Chris?
No.
No? You think the Kent Exiles will blow them away?
I really do, yeah. I think the Olympians are as good as down already. I genuinely believe that. I mean, they lost by 40 points to Solent. They're 0-3, 0-4. I just don't see it. I don't see where the win comes from. Let alone the 2 wins that they'd likely need. I think the Exiles are too good. I said they've already lost to the Exiles as well. Well, that's quite funny, Tom. Yeah, I am colorblind, but that doesn't change the fact I'm an expert. So I think again, it's difficult watching the Olympians this year because they're clearly a decent outfit, but I just can't see where they win. I think I said, because I'd already upset Exiles, I said they'd win by 28 and they won by 24, so they kind of let me down there. But yeah, so I'll back it again. 28 points, the Exiles will win.
Yeah, Johnny.
Yeah, I mean, you know how London Britball goes. But Kent really impressed me as a club. We played them a couple of times before they went up. It just seems to be a really well-run organisation, good field, good sort of ladies team as well. So I can't see London doing anything against Kent today.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to go Kent as well. But the only thing I will say is I've seen that Kent are like asking for coaches, and I always worry when teams put up adverts for coaches and players mid-season. I always think, oh God, what's happened? I don't think it's going to make any difference here. Winning by 24 away from home, they've got to travel. What is it? 20 minutes from Kent to London? I don't know how close geographically it is. But
Those two clubs are really close together.
Yeah, it doesn't look far on a map. So
depends which tube you get on.
Yeah, if you get on the wrong one. So I think Kent Exiles take this one. The next one, read the less bit. Oh, I got told this just not long before we come online. Don't know details about it yet, but I believe that the Manchester Titans versus Sheffield Giants is being live streamed by Onside Productions with a commentary team, I believe. So that's one we could get into. It's a shame that it's probably not going to be close. Let's put it that way. I think that Sheffield last week, they obviously put up a fight against Tamworth, and then something happened at halftime. I don't think Manchester will give them that opportunity. I think they'll go out and make this pretty easy work. Hopefully the commentators get plenty of touchdowns to cheat on. But Manchester Titans for me, Johnny?
Yeah, Manchester by quite a lot. I imagine that offense is looking really, really good. Run, of course, by the second most handsome man in Britball.
Nice.
Sam might actually cry when he hears you say that.
Well, I'll cheer Sam up, right? So Sam's stats from last week: 25 of 30, 285 yards and 5 touchdowns. He had as many touchdowns as he had incompletions. It's just like absolutely sickening stats.
Mad. That offense just looks really impressive.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, but it's not even just the offense, is it? Like that entire Manchester team looks impressive right now. I mean, even when we spoke about Tamworth's offensive struggles, but even with that, the Titans sort of completely took their offense away. The whole team in Manchester looks really strong at the moment. And yeah, I think it's going to be a busy afternoon for the commentators, and probably some sore arms from the officials from doing this very often. It should be a comfortable one.
It feels that we're all just sitting waiting for Manchester to get into the playoffs, and we can see how they do against the London team.
Yeah, I think honestly, I predicted pre-season. My bold statement was that the Britball winner would come outside of London. So I'm hoping that either Bristol or Manchester get there.
Thing is, they're going to spend all this time building up, thinking we're finally going to get a chance to beat one of the London teams. It's going to be the Bristol Aztecs.
God damn it! Yeah, it's one of the things. Yeah, you do run the ball really well. One thing I did find funny in one of the highlights was your big left tackle. I don't know who that is. It might be you, Craig, but your big left tackle skipping down the field after a touchdown. Like just skipping down the field, and I was like, for goodness sake, he's light on his feet, isn't he? But yeah, they've got everything in Manchester at the moment, so it should be good, easy meet for them this weekend. The next one, I think, probably is going to go the same way. Lancashire, I mean, they'll probably put up some points. They seem to have that where they can put up some points on offense, but their defense is leaky. You can't be leaky against the Northumberland Vikings, or they will score. I probably think this one's going to be at least 4 scores of difference in the Vikings' favour. Chris?
Yeah, I mean, Lancashire offensively tend to do quite well. However, defensively, I mean, that name literally sounds terrifying.
Yeah, I know it does.
I've actually got the fear just reading that name.
He used to go and Strictly Come Dancing and show off his light feet. With regards to this game, Lancashire tend to do okay offensively, but they are very leaky on the back end of their defense, and we know Northumberland has some talent on the outside. So I can't see this being a particularly close game. The Wolverines will score, but not enough. No, Johnny?
Yeah, I think we're looking at another big offensive game here. How many points did Lancashire give up against?
90 to the Rams.
Yeah, good teams don't do that. So I mean, it's hard to get to 90. So I think Northumberland too strong.
Yeah. Next one here, Portsmouth versus Bournemouth. We've already seen this game this season. Bournemouth won it. I can't see it going any other way. I know Portsmouth are at home and they had some decent players on our highlights there, but I think Bournemouth are the slightly better team, and I think they'll take this one. Johnny?
Yeah, I mean, this one is Bournemouth. They're one of those teams that sort of always seems to be there. And I don't know too much about Portsmouth. They seem to be sort of pushing at the top of Div 2 before. They seem to have sort of dropped away a little bit. But this one, it's not too far. Bournemouth will take their squad. They'll win.
Yeah, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, even looking back to the first game of the season, the Dreadnoughts, barely lost out to the Oxford Saints. And then they played the Saints at the weekend and got absolutely rumbled in the end. So, I mean, this is Bournemouth's game to lose. Shout out to my university quarterback who had his first practice with the Portsmouth Dreadnoughts this week though. So, I never know, I might get to see him turn out for the Dreadnoughts, which would be quite good.
Portsmouth's our second home as well, which doesn't help. We spend a lot of time down there.
Don't get me wrong. Can't afford a second home, but it's where our family stay.
Yeah. Next one here. Is it anyone picking Sandwell?
No.
No.
I'm contractually obliged not to.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an easy win for Merseyside here. They never scored anything against Manchester. Manchester put them to the sword, but they managed to hold Tamworth's offense to 22. And even though they've got to travel, I think there'll be too much here. Do we need any more comments on this one?
Not really. I mean, we can repeat the same comment. Like, obviously, what's happened at Sandwell is sad, but hopefully they recover from it. But no, it will not be this week.
Yikes! Yeah, that's not a good start. Next one here: Southeast Squadron versus Berkshire Renegades. Berkshire won. Thank you very much. I was happy with that. So I'm hoping that they'll repeat the same thing. The Squadron Pumas. Oh, sorry. What's their name? The Southeast Squadron here. I don't think they're going to manage to beat Berkshire here. I'm hoping that Berkshire, because they're traveling, don't suddenly not turn up again. So I'm going to pick Berkshire here. Chris?
Yeah, I mean, this division looks like an offensive coordinator's worst nightmare, because I think most of the games have had like 10 points or less or something like that from each team, which is just great. Like, even some of the games, talking like 10-8 and 12-8 and 12-6, and it's just a bit. Hopefully, I think there'll be a few more points from Berkshire this week. Hopefully they can avoid by the win over their Mavericks. But yeah, I mean, offensively, I don't think this division is going to give us much all year.
No. Johnny?
No, I think it might take some time for Berkshire. They missed last season, didn't they? They decided to take the season out. So, maybe there's some, growing pains for getting back into it for this season. But hopefully they take a large amount of people across. I can't see anyone other than Renegades for this one.
Yeah. The next one here could get interesting. From some comments I've heard, Shropshire seem to have got a few bodies back, got some new folk in. Looked like they had a bit of something last week. The Birmingham Bulls on the other side. Will this be your battle for going down in this division? Halton as well. Are they the same division, Chris?
Yeah, right. Halton are in the same division, but obviously the advantage being is that Halton have got off the board, right? Halton have got their first win of the year.
Yeah, whereas none of these two have. That's right. No, so it could be a good game. I've picked the Bulls here, like purely off of form, and it's nothing to do. I don't like Shropshire or anything. I don't have any problem with Shropshire. If they are managing to get some players back and recruit a few players, then they might run this. They might run away with this one. But Birmingham seemed to have a bit about them. They had a decent game against Nottingham, so I'm going to pick them. Johnny?
I'm going Bulls as well. Just looking at the games that Shropshire have had already, I know you're playing really tough teams, but only putting up 23 points in 4 games, it's hard to win games moving forward with that. So I'm going Birmingham.
Chris?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is it's unfortunate for Shropshire how their season started. You know,
David will know.
yeah.
Involved.
The Bulls. I think the difference is the Bulls have looked competitive against better teams than Shropshire have.
I can imagine.
If it makes you feel any better, I have no intentions of fighting you. But no, I think the Bulls have played better football all round this year. And I think there is going to be that added element of, yes, the Bulls still need to win a game, right? But I think from their standpoint, I think looking at it, they'll be thinking they can still win the games against Holland. And Shropshire, I'm sure, will be feeling the same about the second game, but they've already lost that game, the first one of that. So I think the Bulls are the better team, and I think the Bulls get this done as well.
Yeah, someone's saying I missed out Rushmore. I've not. It's coming. Solent Thrashers versus London Warriors. Solent, again, went out of the blocks nice last week. Looked good against Bristol. I think they were just overpowered in the second half. A few injuries. London Warriors still look like they're not quite the London Warriors of old, but they seem to just be able to roll over everybody in the end. So, unfortunately, I think that London just take this one pretty simple. Johnny?
I'd like to say it'd be a lot closer than you're probably predicting, but after Solent, sort of the last couple of weeks, they're struggling a bit more. I was really sort of high on them at the start of the season. I think they had that really good win at the start. But yeah, London Warriors to come in and just roll them without really getting out of third gear.
Chris?
Yeah, I mean, I think, what is this? Solent's 5th game in 6 weeks? I mean, I have to feel it's a little bit harsh, to be honest. And in that schedule, they've played they'll play the Warriors twice, the Blitz and the Aztecs. And they got one win against the Blitz, but coming to your 5th game in 6 weeks, your second game is against the London Warriors of all teams. It's going to be too much. It just is. It's no disrespect to the Thrashers, but it's going to be too much for them.
It's a shame because on you go, Johnny.
So Thrashers seem to be putting together real good sort of organisation. They seem to be seem to have good coaches. We played them in the playoff semi-final just before COVID, so you can tell they're a really good organisation with some really, really strong players, but it's London Warriors.
Yeah, right. Solent do have numbers. They've got a massive squad, but
yeah, they're also getting a couple of key guys back this week, but it's still the London Warriors.
Yeah, it's a shame because it might potentially, depending on how results go the other way, it might potentially mean that Solent have to drop a place in our power rankings this week. But we'll see. We'll see how they come out. Next game, it's funny, but also I actually think it's going to be a cracking game. If you look at the results they've had against other teams in that division, South Wales Warriors are at home. The Cheetahs really struggled to beat them at home. They ran, was it Bournemouth they ran really close? Chris, have you got the fixtures in front of you?
I don't have them in front of me. No.
I'm sure it was Bournemouth that ran really close away from home. Oxford are undefeated. They are, and I say they've got some clearly really good players on their team. They're doing something really well this year. But I've picked the South Wales Warriors, which Chris isn't very happy with. Not this Chris Warren. So I had to put that awkward eye-rolling face on Facebook earlier this week. But I'm going to stick with my call here. I think the Warriors, just because they're at home and their defense is tough, I reckon they're going to sneak this one. Chris?
Yeah, I mean, Sean actually said to me he's not picking the Oxford Saints because he just doesn't like his very much, Chris. I mean, don't quote me on that, but it's just what I'd heard. Yeah, listen, we spoke about, I think the thing is, this game was what, a tie? 7-7 tie?
Undefeated. Yes.
A 7-7 tie when these two teams met. Now, I think the interesting part of that is that we spoke at length so many times during the COVID season. Color me shocked. about how Oxford still looked good offensively, but just kept turning the ball over in the red zone. And we said they don't do that this year. They save themselves a lot of problems, and we're being told last week they hadn't had any yet. And then they went and scored a ton of points again. And I think that was, I say again, scored a ton of points against Portsmouth. So the reason I backed the Saints is because it looks like they might be getting that offense really up and running now. And if they can add special teams touchdowns into that and defensive touchdowns into that, then they're laughing. South Wales are obviously tough at home. They're obviously going to be missing a couple of boys. However, I think the Saints are good enough to win the game, and they will stay undefeated.
Nice. Johnny?
You look at the last fixture, 7-7. You don't know how, was that lack of offense or was that great defense? But then seeing Oxford go away from home and put up 43 points, whereas, South Wales get 5 in their game. I think Oxford, as you say, might be having some sort of getting their offense to start clicking. So I'm going Oxford.
Well, I'll be getting slagged to hell if Oxford win anyway.
So come on, Oxford, help us out here, please.
The next game is also an interesting one because it's Staffordshire Surge versus Crewe. Now, Crewe won against Lee, and everyone was like, "Oh, Lee scored points," and then Lee went and drew with Staffordshire, which everyone was like, "What is happening here?" So this is a really interesting game. Staffordshire at home have been a lot better than Crewe over the years. They've dominated them really. But this year, I'm going to pick Crewe. I think Crewe are going to sneak this one. I think they're maybe on the upward slightly, whereas Stafford seem to be on downward. And I think even away from home, I think they might have a chance to sneak in this one. Johnny?
I'm agreeing with you. I'm going Crewe. Isn't this one of the other ones that's struggling for refs, though?
Yes,
is it?
Yeah. So you never know how that affects things. But with Lee in that division, you don't really know. You try and look at common opponents, right? When a team hasn't met. But that, what was the score in that last league game?
Well, the thing was, Crewe won against Staffordshire, right? Crewe won, against Lee, like 44 points something, and then Staffordshire had a last-second tie against them. They were actually
25 all. Yeah,
25 all, because it was the Staffordshire Surge led for most of the game, and then late in the third, I believe, Lee tied it, and then late in the fourth, they took the lead, and it was the last pretty much play of the game that the Surge tied the game up on. Which, I was shocked by. I didn't expect that, to be honest, at all.
Yeah,
it's a bit of a shock. You don't know how much you can read into the the common opponents thing, but I just had a feeling I'm going Crewe as well.
Chris?
Yeah, that's the thing, and it's a clean sweep. There's a clean sweep for Crewe. Who'd have thought would be saying that at this point? But I think that's the thing. They looked. The score obviously suggests they looked pretty good against Lee, and you're going, Lee's first year in the proper league, so it's going to be tough for them. But then they put up a great performance against the Surge. Now, the only question that really stands is, did Lee improve that significantly in the space of 2-3 weeks, or are Crewe potentially the best team in that division?
Oh, nice.
Yes, nice. That is the question. And one of them is going to make the playoffs. So
only one of them now. It took away my great little bit about the fact that whoever won in Crewe versus Lee was pretty much guaranteed the playoffs, and then it turns out only one team's going, so that's not true. That's so gruesome, man. It's so grim. We played teams 3 times, and schematically, from an offensive point of view, it is hell. Because, there's only so much you can do, eh?
Yeah. Next game is going to probably be a blowout. EKP, who, as I said earlier, I can happily say that I was extremely accurate with my prediction last week between the Rams and EKP. Different caliber of defense at EKP compared to what the Rams have been used to. What the Rams put up on Glasgow, 80. I don't think EKP
70 on Glasgow.
70. I don't think EKP will get near that, but I think it'll be I think it'll be a very comfortable win. Get some of their other players some game time. I don't see Glasgow causing them too much problems. Chris?
Yeah, I mean, it's one-sided, this.
There you go. After game against Crew and Bees and they rotated, looked good. So yeah, Lee must have improved.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those, isn't it? It's just not going to be that competitive. It's going to be a fairly comfortable blowout for the Pirates.
Yeah, Johnny?
Yeah, I mean, EKP doesn't look like their offense has really sort of clicked as well so far this season, but get right game, Glasgow clearly struggling, so
Yeah.
big scoreline.
Yeah, it should be interesting to see exactly how much they can put up or if they choose to rotate. Now, the reason I've left this game last is because it probably was second on our list for game of the week. Not just because I think it's going to be really close, but it has massive implications on the Division 1 power rankings. Now, I believe Lee Sessions is your centre, is he?
Lee,
Is your centre?
he did play centre for us for a bit. He's coaching now.
He broke his leg, did he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he mentioned last week, right? So the power rankings as it stands in Division 1 are north heavy. So in Division 2, it's south heavy. But it's just the way we think it teams stand. So at the moment, Rushmore, however you say it, they're the highest ranked south team. Now, the Cats probably would have been higher had they not slipped up in game 1.
Mm-hmm.
But from my standpoint, I reckon that the four north teams above any of the south teams are stronger. Now, if Rushmore go out and really put it on Hertfordshire, then I think I've got to move them up. If Hertfordshire go out and really put it on the Knights, I think I've probably got to move them up because these guys are at 5 and 6 now. So for me, this is a really important game for numerous different reasons, but it's also a really important game for your division because we think that teams in that division are able to knock each other off almost every week, other than maybe the lower end of the league. I really want to see what this game's like. If Rushmore are gathering as much momentum as they look like they have, their offense looks like it's firing. They're going to cause Hertfordshire troubles. Now, Hertfordshire's offense has not got going yet, but they've won. They've not lost. So this is a really intriguing game to me. I'm going to side with Rushmore on this one, which obviously is going to hack off Craig and Russell, who are probably watching. But I think that Rushmore are going to win this one. But I think this is going to be a tough game. I would have loved to see this one because I reckon it's going to be a proper physical battle. Johnny?
Yeah, I had this one down as being one of the best games this weekend. You've got the teams in the south in Div 1 seem to be they're not putting up as many points as the teams in Div 1 North. Is that because you've got much better sort of pool of teams in the south than in the north? Maybe there's a couple of weaker teams within the division where you can go and put up 50, 60 points a bit more regularly. This one is definitely going to be a close game. I also like Rushmore to win, but again, it is on can Hertfordshire score a lot of points. If they only score a couple of touchdowns, then Rushmore will probably be a bit too strong for them. But if Hertfordshire can put together some offense, stop Rushmore, who are sort of rolling at the moment, we'll see. But I'm leaning Rushmore.
Chris?
Yeah, and I think this is probably the first time in many years I've actually not sided with the Cheetahs. So, Craig, if you want to give me any abuse, listen, I backed you a lot, right? My issue with it is we know how good the Hertfordshire defense is, right? We know Hertfordshire has a good defense. They're strong. They play very physical D. Their O just doesn't convince me at all. Nothing about their offense makes me think they're going to go out and beat people up. And, the defense will definitely keep the game tight, which will always keep them with a chance of winning it. But given how competitive that division is, the offense needs to start doing something, or they're going to lose a few more games. So I'd like to see more from the offense, and hopefully they get it this weekend. But I think that's the problem for me when picking the Cheetahs. If I was to pick the Cheetahs, is that I have to believe they could score more than Rushmore, and I don't. So it has to be Rushmore for me.
Yeah, and they're away from home as well, which is always interesting. You're right. Someone's got to lose their O. Craig, like Mercedes, we are getting upgrades like that. See,
You
they
got
sold
George
the
Russell?
world. Yeah, I say this. Oh, that's Chris, controversial comment there. I believe Mercedes sold the world's most expensive car today. It's some ridiculous price, 111 million or something. So hopefully it's 111 million worth of upgrades. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. As I said, it has so much impact on so many different levels, this game. So that's why I left it till last.
Yeah, I mean, we'll be looking at it. We'll be looking at it huge because we know that if we're going to go all the way through the playoffs, it'll be through this division. So, I mean, they are two really, really strong teams. I'm more. I'm not too concerned with sort of predicting it. I want to see it pan out.
Yeah, I'm the same. I want to see what comes of this game. Craig, yes, your game of the week this week, so you're first. So if you want to go back and watch it, then be our guest. It's there for you. All the predictions are online. A few things before we wrap this one up here. Game Day Live. Again, send in your scores and that to hashtag Game Day Live. The boys will be on going through, having not watched our show and then trying to figure out what we said. They like a bit of banter that way. There to get them hashtag on, get the scores in so we can read them out and get you some coverage. Just last of all, thanks very much for coming on, Johnny.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I think you've had the biggest reaction out of anyone we've ever had on.
You're welcome.
It's been a good laugh. We've had some brilliant comments. So thanks for coming on, and
No, you're welcome. Cheers.
You're welcome anytime. The Cats aren't playing this week, so enjoy your weekend off and get ready for the rest of the season.
Thank you. Cheers.
Chris, you got anything else to say before we go?
No, just other than you were supposed to be my scores guy this weekend for Game Day Live, but that's kind of went
I know
down south quick, though, hasn't it? But no,
a couple of beers, texting, videos, red zone out the window, standing in the field. Disaster.
No, as I say, a lot of good games this weekend, so hopefully a lot of good scores to come with it.
Yeah, could be an interesting week for power rankings, which is always good because the last couple of weeks there's hardly been much movement. So thanks very much again, Johnny. Cheers to everyone for watching. Like and share if you can. Try and get as many people to see our show as we can. But thank you very much, and we'll catch you again next week.